What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Eric and my YouTube and collector name is Nifty Sports. We have a super special episode for you today. I'm going to be talking with Jake, who is the creator of a early and active Facebook group of enthusiasts for NFL All Day NFTs. It is an incredible community going on over there. So he's going to tell us all about it, how it got started, what the hot topics are right now, and what they are excited about for the future of NFL All Day. The whole point of the channel here is to talk strategy and keep you up to date on all the major sports NFTs. So if you like that stuff, make sure to subscribe to the channel. And of course, don't forget to check out the NFL All Day OGs on Facebook. The link is in the description of the video here. Jake, thanks so much for coming on. Hope you all enjoy. All right, we're live here with Jake from the NFL All Day OGs. He is coming in from Houston, Texas. I am fired up to have him on the show today. He's repping a big group, a Facebook group that he put together, and we're going to hear all about it in this episode. We're going to take about 30 minutes to go over the community that they've built over on Facebook. It's a strong one. Trust me, I'm a part of it, and it's growing really fast as well. We're going to talk about some of the hot topics that they're talking about in that group right now, what the overall mood is, and some of the expectations that they have in NFL All Day going forward into the football season. It's going to be a long summer. I know a lot of us are just chomping at the bit for some American football. So, Jake, thanks for coming on. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, man. Thank you, man. First of all, man, just want to say thanks to Eric, man. Definitely love the Nifty Sports. Love the channel, man. Been watching the videos. Watched the TST video earlier today, man. Great stuff on the channel, man. Just appreciate you inviting me, man, and being a part of it.
I appreciate it. I saw what you were doing over there with the OGs, and we're going to get into that in just a second. And it's just super fun to see. You know, you're the creator and the moderator of that group, and how fast that community's grown. I know I joined it probably a month or so ago. You reached out to me on Twitter. I was in it maybe more than a month ago now, but it's doubled since the time that I've been there. So we're going to get down into all the details of why you ended up starting that group and what's going on in that group right now. So appreciate you coming on and reaching out in the first place, because I think there's so much to be excited about, as you and I probably could agree with NFL All Day. So let's hear the story. Break it down for us. What made you create that Facebook group?
Man, just been on Top Shot, man. Got on the roller coaster, as you say, like around the same time as you, man, March. And just super passionate about, the Dapper brand and NBA Top Shot. I was kind of talking to my brother about it. He's on Top Shot as well. And I'm like, man, could you imagine if they did an NFL? And then one day, it just shot across the Twitter world like crazy, and NFL's coming. Everyone's just fired up. Everyone's excited, And so right when that announcement came through, man, I'm like, man, let me try to throw this group out here when it's early. Reach out to some of the Top Shot people and just get an early start on this, man, get people fired up about All Day, get the speculation going, just talk everything all day, just get with some passionate people like me and you, there's so many crazy football fans. Like you said, it's probably going to be a long off season because, people are just so passionate and just so excited about this All Day launch. And it's like, man, we got to wait till September, man. We're ready. We're excited right now. So just wanted to get it out there early and just link up with people like me and you that just, want to talk all day, want to just figure out what's gonna happen and speculate on what's going on and, just stuff like that, man.
I love it. I mean, speculating is so much fun. I think we're fortunate to be early, and I didn't even know that you started the group right when they announced that NFL All Day, because that was way back in like the summer of last year.
Yeah.
So way to get on that. There's been some steam building up. It's been about a year now, I guess, then where you've been able to build up that group. And yeah, I mean, as soon as football season was over this year, I was ready for it to come back, as I'm sure all of us were. So we're about 2,000 people in that group right now. And it's just countless posts every day. It's hard to keep up with, but I love popping in there. What are some of the hot topics? I know since you're the moderator, you're the one that kind of sees the daily of exactly like what the trends are. What are the hot topics and trends that people are talking about right now? What's everyone pumped up about
Yeah.
most specifically.
Yeah, well, we talked speculation earlier. I mean, it's been kind of quiet before this historical drop news. It's been pretty quiet on the all-day front for the last 3 weeks. So people are really just pulling stuff out of thin air. What's the best buys? What's going on? What we're speculating on sets, team sets. What's the best sets to collect and everything like that. So a lot of speculation. People don't exactly know which avenue to go. So kind of looking for help from other community members. And we really got a good team of people in there. We got people throwing up spreadsheets and people posting up stuff from Own the Moment and all kinds of stuff, man. Without me even asking, they're just kind of getting in there and they're like, "Oh, check out this stuff or look at this stuff," and it's really cool to see, man. It's just like the group kind of just feeds itself, and it's an awesome little community we got going.
It's pretty amazing. Isn't it kind of fun? Isn't it kind of fun that it's not our first rodeo anymore? Like we did the whole Top Shot thing. And I think a lot of us that are in the community have learned a ton of lessons from that and are kind of translating that knowledge over into what NFL All Day can and hopefully will be, with our speculations, with our expectations and all of the above. Am I right?
Yeah, definitely, man. It's like you said about the roller coaster with Top Shot. We jumped in March, me and you, and around the same time when prices were high. And I kept telling myself before All Day came out, I'm like, man, if I could have jumped in this thing earlier, if I could have just been in earlier, I got in when the prices were at the peak. And, that's just my luck. But, I still had a blast doing it. Well, guess what, man? We're on All Day. It's Series 1. The prices are affordable. So, let's go, we got the opportunity now. So we got the ball in our court. So I'm fired up. And I think everyone else is pretty excited about it too,
It is super exciting. I mean, I cannot be more excited, to be honest with you. It's been super tempting for me not to move some of my Top Shot stuff over. And I've taken a little bit of profit here and there, but most of the stuff that I've done on All Day has been fresh to start a new collection. But I've definitely seen the opportunity and times and temptation to, make a couple of big sales with my Top Shot collection since we are, like you said, we're on Series 1. There hasn't been one of the things that's kind of been interesting for me to see is that I feel like, it's a slow build, like it's a slow burn, right?
Yeah.
We don't know what the future holds. And I'm doing my best personally. And I know it's really difficult to do because there's so much excitement, but I'm doing my best to keep low expectations, right? Just because I know I'm in it for the long term, right? Even if we don't I'm the type of guy that's like, we may or may not have, challenges or flash challenges or any type of fantasy or stuff like that for this football season. And I would be okay with that. I know it would be a little bit disappointing for a lot of people. I would be okay with it just because long term, and I don't know, since I didn't come into Series 1 and Top Shot, I know a good amount about the history of it, but I don't know the intricate history of how many challenges they were having back then, what quantity of them and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I just want to see the community grow. I want to see the user base grow. I want to see us build up some steam so that, we're justified in, the early purchases that we've made so far and had that opportunity to get on those All Day debuts.
Yeah. I've kind of dealt with the same thing. I don't want to sell my Top Shot moments because I'm attached. I'm a big NBA fan too. I'm not just All Day's here. I'm transferring to that, which I see some people doing that. And that's cool. You got to kind of pick your lane. But I'm a big NBA fan too. So I have moments that are my PC, my personal collection, and I want to hold on to them. I know they're going to be worth a lot when, the app comes out and everything, really picks up steam and they really start promoting. So I've kind of been facing some of the same battles as you with that. But as far as challenges, I mean, I'm so pumped for the possibility of challenges. I mean, bare minimum, we're waiting until September when the season starts, bare minimum. So we do have some time, like you said, to just kind of slow play it. But I mean, think about it, man. Think they say first 10 touchdowns in a challenge. And you're watching the Red Zone channel on Sunday, man, and you're like, it's like a backup tight end and a pick six, and then maybe one of the top fantasy guys like it should be, but there's going to be some surprises, man, and it's just going to make that football Sunday that much more exciting,
I couldn't agree more. I mean, thinking about it's a no-brainer for me. It's tough for me to say, but I've never had Sunday, the Sunday ticket, right? I usually watch the local stuff. I find a way to stream my team. I'm a Niners fan. So I get a healthy dose of football, and it's football is one of my favorite sports too. It's like
Definitely.
football and baseball for me have always been my true loves. Basketball, I've become a fan over the past 10 years and more each year, right? But football, there's nothing better than a football Sunday. So I'm definitely, it's kind of cool to even think about maybe some of the real life utility stuff that could come down the line with NFL all day too, because they've already dropped on the roadmap for NBA Top Shot that there's going to be potential a league pass membership for international people, and then eventually for us U.S. Stateside people also. But for the Sunday ticket for NFL Red Zone, I mean, imagine that. Just by getting your collection started a little bit early, and
Yeah, talk about utility, man. That would be some awesome utility, man. Just from collecting, you get Sunday ticket. Watch every game at your house, and I mean, football Sunday is already so exciting, man. Like, I can't even imagine if they get in some just like a regular fantasy league. Like, I get ahead of myself. I get excited. Maybe they're not going to do all this stuff, but I just think about the possibilities and all the utility involved. And I mean, there's endless, things that they could do just to get excited about, man. So yeah, dude, it's unreal to think about. NFL, NFL has a lot of advantages over NBA. NBA is more global, and they're going to have more consumers, of NBA because it's such popular sport worldwide. But NFL, you think about fantasy football, that's a juggernaut in the States. People play fantasy basketball. I play fantasy basketball, but I could ask 100 of my friends, and 90 of them play fantasy football, and only 5 of them play fantasy basketball. Right. Football is a juggernaut here. So, I mean, it definitely pros and cons to each one. But, football is going to be a beast, man, with Dapper. So, yeah.
Absolutely. No, I think they've learned a lot from Top Shot, but I also think it's so cool. It's awesome to see how different of products they are because they are such different sports. For me, the first thing that I thought about it was like, it's going to be interesting to see how they roll out football, right? There's going to be some players, like everyone's running around with, helmets on. There's going to be some defensive players. There's 22 people on the field at a time. Basketball, there's only 10. There's, international superstar guys who are just like, they make the locker room, the runway, they're all over the place. They're, more in the public light than a lot of football players might be. Right. But so that's cool collecting like icons of that sort. But, then you think back too, you got Tom Brady, you got guys like Mahomes, you got guys that you remember from your fantasy football team 10 years ago that you're never going to forget because he was such a stud, for a couple years for you, that everyone had to have the guy, and whoever had them was, had a good chance at being a league winner. So
yeah, we all have a few of those guys for sure, man. I remember Arian Foster, I think it was the first year I played fantasy football, 2010. Pardon me if that's the wrong year, but it was around 2010. And Arian Foster is my first year to play. I'm from Houston. And I knew he was going to start, but he had no name whatsoever at that point. Nobody knew anything about him, but we knew he was going to start. So I drafted him, played him, and he had this monster year. And I'll always remember that, and there's several players, you probably have a few like that. And everybody has those players that they remember from fantasy sports. So I saw one in this historic drop, Sean Alexander from the Seahawks had just a monster year or two fantasy wise. And I saw him in there and I instantly thought of, fantasy football. So definitely relevant.
Absolutely. No, for sure. That's awesome. I mean, people are such loyal fans too, when it comes to, NFL teams. I think one of the things that I thought was super cool, and I kind of jumped on, and it's a big question mark because, maybe you've heard some speculation on it in the OGs group, but, my thing was I want to buy up some of these all-day debuts for the teams. That's really interesting to me. They didn't have any of those for NBA, or at least they don't yet. So I was like, okay, the Chiefs, the Cowboys, the biggest franchise in the world. I'm going to scoop up a couple of Cowboys moments, see how those fare.
Yeah.
And see if there's any utility for those down the road where I can, my whole thing is I like flipping stuff in more collectibles, being smart and playing with, some Dapper every once in a while if I can catch some gains and then just go buy other stuff, So I was eyeing those team debuts. Is there any what do you think of those?
Yeah, man. I mean, they're going to be reliable, dude, because I mean, think about it. You buy a debut of somebody and, you know, NFL stands for not for long. I mean, 3 years, they're out of the league.
Yeah.
Well, like the Dallas Cowboys aren't going anywhere. You have that
Right.
debut and this dapper thing and NFL all day succeeds like we know it's going to. And 10 years from now, you got the Series 1 Dallas Cowboys debut, man. Like it's going to be impossible to get that. I mean, it's a foolproof buy in my opinion. I don't have as many as I want. I know I scooped up 2 of the Vikings. They're in the set. They were like a low 6,000 mint count. The Falcons was super cheap. I bought 2 of those.
Yeah.
I think I got the Colts, but I mean, it seems like a foolproof buy to me, man. I mean, it's the team. Like it's going to be a good hold.
Yeah, it was a head scratcher for me at the beginning. I think when I caught the Cowboys, it was at $17.
Yeah.
And I was like, I got to add a couple of those. You know, I think it's at, last time I checked, it was at like 42 already. So,
yeah.
I mean, that's something that I like. I can't wait. I knew going into this week that it was going to be a big week for NFL all day. And the things that always get me excited is the roadmap, you know, like a little bit of sparkle on what we can expect, you know, like it gives us a little bit more to speculate on, right? But it also gives us some like, what do you call it? Like a goalpost or something like a measuring mark, right?
Yeah.
As to where we're at, where we're going to be between now and September. So that's going to come out really soon. And I'll definitely be making a video on that. But let's talk about a little bit like the big news this week so far has been this historical moments. What's the buzz on the historical moments in the group?
Yeah, man, people are pretty excited because, like I said earlier, man, it was like a 3-week, just, you know, not a lot of information, you know, and I know All Day's still working things out. So, you know, they don't really have as much information to give us right now. So people are hungry for any kind of news. And then they drop a bombshell like these historic moments and Brett Favre on there. And then they even talked about an ultimate moment, you know, number to 10.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus, man, that's huge news. And there's some pretty cool players in there too, man. There was a Randall Cunningham that somebody posted in the group, and the play was just bananas, man. It was like, wow. And the film looked pretty good. You know, it's kind of old school film,
Yeah.
but it still looked clear and it looked pretty good quality. So kind of similar to the archives in the NBA, but yeah, there was some pretty cool plays in there, man. I was kind of looking up a few of them already.
Have they announced a date on that now? Because I've been at an NFT conference all day today. So I was seeing some stuff on Twitter here and there. I saw actually the one that I did see was the Reggie White, and that one looked pretty cool to me.
Yeah.
That one looked amazing. I was like, all right, that makes me want to go buy a can of Campbell's soup. You know, Reggie White thing. But
well, they haven't announced the date yet.
Okay.
You can look up the players now. Most of the players are on there. I kind of wrote a list. Actually, they got Ricky Williams on there, Reggie White, as you said, Thurman Thomas, Greg Jennings, Dante Culpepper. They got a few legendaries: Brian Urlacher, Chris Carter, Randall Cunningham, Antonio Freeman. They got 3 different Brett Favres, I think. I think they have a legendary, an ultimate, and a common. Brian Leftwich, he might be the next head coach for the Buccaneers here next year. Steve McNair, that's also one that, you know, I was pretty big on. So definitely got some good ones. It was more studs than duds. You know, it was about 80% like big names, and then you saw 20%. I recognized all the 20% that weren't as big of names. I knew them all, but like it was just, you know, it was a pretty good ratio, man.
Yeah. That's going to be fun to see, you know, and you know, I mean, we got the draft coming up. You know, I think last year they did an NBA draft trip. You could start seeing some stuff like, you know, utility IRL stuff going on. It seems that there's a lot of people involved, like a lot of NFL athletes involved with the platform at an early stage, which is good to see. I mean, not only Mahomes, but I was at the NFL all day booth at the Super Bowl experience, and they had Micah Parsons, Trayvon Diggs. And then the next day, I think they had Deebo Samuel, Eric Armstead out there too. So, I mean, Deebo Samuel quote tweeted one of my guys on Twitter the other day.
Oh man,
that he was pumped up because he had sold, you know, a nice Top Shot moment and was able to purchase his Deebo on, I think it was the moment against the Cowboys, the rare one.
Nice.
On NFL all day, and that was like one of his grail moments, and Deebo gave him props on it. And so to see that kind of excitement from guys like that, and you know, it's pretty cool to see.
Yeah, being partnered with the NFL Players Association, man. Like, there's some people that are invested, in the NFL that are invested with Dapper and everything. Like, I know just off the top of my head, DK Metcalf, Stephon Diggs. I've been hearing talk about Cooper Kupp, being in there. Obviously, we know Patrick Mahomes, and then I've been seeing players lately here on Twitter just the last couple of days. Chris Conley, he's wide receiver for the Texans.
Yeah.
He just bought a moment, so you're seeing it creep up, and they haven't really even gotten started yet. This is just kind of like the rough draft, the warm up. So like think about September, football season starting. Think about a potential app maybe coming out. Like, it's going to really be firing all cylinders in.
Yeah. No, I'm really excited to see. Specifically, I think the thing that I'm excited to see most is what they're going to do with weeks 1 through 12. Right, that'll kind of wrap up all of Series 1. We won't really have to worry about anything in Series 1, I don't think, anymore, once weeks 1 through 12 are wrapped up, which is kind of cool to see because we have a full slate. We have a community that's already there. And as a community, I think it's something that we like to do is we like to hang on and keep each other involved. And again, we've already learned a lot of the lessons from managing expectations standpoint with NBA Top Shot, right? Like everyone expected such a big influx of new users. And we learned from that point that doesn't always happen that way. It's not always linear, right? So, but at least for me, knowing that Series 1 is going to be wrapped up and that is set in stone is super exciting to me because that gives me something to focus on, right? Everything else is kind of utility. There's going to be some like historic moments that I want to get my hands on in the collection. Like obviously my favorite team and favorite players, like I'm going to be building that collection, no doubt. But Series 1 in terms of long-term looking on all day, having that wrapped up is going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, man, definitely learn some lessons from Top Shot for sure. So I feel a little bit more confident, going into this. I kind of know what to expect. I know to temper my expectations. Honestly, I feel like a lot of people are just sleeping on the floor right now, man. Like Series 1 debuts, they're $4 or $5 ones. And I mean, it might not be an elite superstar, but like I said, like they throw out a challenge week 1, if they do something like that and it's first 10 touchdowns or first 10 interceptions or first 10 turnovers or something, and you're looking at that $5 cornerback that gets an interception and you got their Series 1 debut and up it goes, and you were sleeping on it, man. I mean, these are Series 1 debuts for $5, $6, $7, and there is some pretty reputable players in there.
What's cool to think about too is like, look, NBA Top Shot started back in June of 2020, right? And here we are sitting in March, almost April of 2022, close to 2 full years later, and they're still using Top Shot debuts in nightly flash challenges, right? So we're a full 2 years behind, and it's still relevant.
Yeah.
So we have the opportunity now. When we start all day, the first drop in November, was it November or December?
Don't give me line. I believe it was about November.
November, right? Yeah, that sounds about right to me. Here we are, I think 2 years from then, right? Like that's November of 2023, when we're full stride into the 2023 season, those still may be coming in handy.
Oh, for sure.
And that's cool to think about too. That's a perfect segue. I think one of the last things I want to talk about is let's talk about what you're buying out there. What's your collection look like? What are you excited about personally as a collector? And then we'll wrap up the video after that and talk about how people can get involved with the all day or with the OGs group.
Yeah, right on, man. Yeah, so I'm just trying to scoop up as many debuts as I can. I got kind of lucky on some pack hits. Got a few good rares.
Nice.
Got one Lego, so fired up about that. So
did you get the Micah Hyde one? I forget.
Yeah, that's what I got. Micah Hyde was the divisional round playoffs.
Nice.
Or it might have been the wild card weekend playoffs. Actually, it was where they beat the Patriots.
Okay.
It was like a game still an interception. It was a pretty sweet moment. I was pretty fortunate to grab that. But yeah, man, I'm just trying to get as much as I can. I'm trying to complete a few sets. I mean, I'm not a whale. I don't have just a ton of disposable income. I'm just like everyone else. Got a family and bills and mortgage and all that. So I try to hustle my ass off, which you could definitely relate to, man. I try to make moves and make smart moves, and try to get as much as I can. So just trying to nickel and dime and buy as many debuts as I can right now, man. I'm trying to slow down a little bit. I came a little hot out the gate, and now I'm trying to just like, all right, Jake, let's step back and let's take a look at this thing. And like the team debuts, like you said, man, that's just like a no brainer. And there's a few out there. Adrian Peterson debut. It's like, this could be his last year. So I mean, there's definitely a lot of stuff for cheap that's actually pretty good buys.
I agree. One of the things that I've been doing personally is I always like, look, I'm a collector, but I also like to make money and build a collection. And I know that there's not an endless, supply of money coming in that I'm able to just put into NFTs, right? But if I find something that I really like, I like to go double on it, because if I can take profits and sell it and move it into something else, it always kills me to have to sell something and then just have it not be in your collection anymore.
Exactly.
So it's like I get to, like I've personally been focusing on a lot of the rare moments. In addition to the debuts, I'd say 90% of my collection right now is probably debuts, has the debut badge.
For sure.
Out of that 90%, 75% of those are probably rares, because I thought there was some really good value. And, when it comes to like the limited supply on those, like I like those, like they feel less volatile. They feel a little bit safer for me than, scooping up a ton of one single thing. I just don't know if I have like the stomach for it.
Yeah.
But I do definitely have, like, when I go on the commons, right, I'll buy 3 or 4 of those.
Yeah.
When I go for the rares, I'll buy like 2 of those, and I'll have, just kind of trying to focus on the stuff that's really, really important right now, because I know that I may not ever get a chance to get it at this price again.
Yeah, I'm sure you're working on that. I'm sure you're working on that Niners PC too, huh?
A little bit. I think that George Kittle, what's the MGLE equivalent set? It's called like just the plain, the flag.
Not move the chains, not locked in.
Locked in's like the flagship, right? Like the MGLE. Yeah, the George Kittle locked in was like a steal for me for a minute. I'm like, this thing is $60. It's it's like 1,100 or 1,200 of these things. Like, he's the man. Everyone loves him in San Francisco and across the whole league. He's one of those guys that carries your fantasy team.
For sure, man. Yeah, they've definitely came up a little bit. The rares. I remember I hit you up probably like a month ago, and I was like, man, I just got a Mark Andrews rare for $49, and it's like, they've came up a little bit. They've inflated a little bit with no pack drops, and the rares have kind of went up in price. Still a lot of good deals out there for sure, but they've definitely gone up a little bit. But rares are definitely the way to go, man. They're definitely going to move the needle a lot quicker, with only 1,000 mint count or whatever the case may be. It's when it pumps, it's going to pump a lot faster, than a 10,000 mint count. So they're a good look.
Yeah. I think, we chat back and forth in the DMs quite often, actually, about just kind of strategizing with, all these players that are just so undervalued out there right now. Like, my thing is, I don't know if who knows if we'll ever be able to have a chance at them at that price point again. So
yeah,
I can see why you can go a little bit crazy when you're so bullish on the long-term value of it. It's like, but then you got to taper it back, because you got more moments coming, and there always are.
Yeah. You gotta watch yourself, man. It gets a little tough. You got to have some willpower out there.
For sure. What's so let's dive a little bit deeper and close out with the video with NFL All Day OGs. It's a Facebook group. And like I said already, it's got 2,000 members. You started this thing to get things going and get some momentum going right when the announcement hit. What's the growth trajectory been on like that? How can people get involved? Is it an open group? What type of people are you seeing in that community? What's the overall vibe of it, and how can people get involved?
Man, it's just an awesome, like, positive community, man. We got 2,000 in there right now. It's growing at a pretty good rate. I haven't really been the biggest Discord guy. Like I try to get on there. I have it, I look at it every now and then. Hasn't been something I've been like crazy into. I'm on Twitter all the time, but just Facebook. I was in a lot of the Top Shot groups on Facebook and met a few cool people on there. And I'm like, man, I just got to fire this off, man, and get a good community going for all day now, like Top Shot. And real good vibes in there, man. Just people trying to help each other out, people being positive, pulling up data, pulling up good buys, all that good stuff. So, I mean, that's basically the vibe of the group, and it's been pretty cool, man. Lots of posts in there, a lot of activity. So, I mean, it's been going pretty much like I dreamed it up, so hopefully it'll keep growing. I'll shoot you the link over, so we can post that up. Just Facebook, you just search in groups, NFL All Day OGs. You'll see the laser beam shooting out of Mahomes' eyes on the cover page. So, yeah, man, it's a pretty good time.
I like that. Yeah, I'll have the link in the description of the video down below for anybody who wants to join it. I think, Jake, you're going to be approving those requests, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Cool. So, yeah, I'll put that down in the description of the video. Make sure you check it out on Facebook because Jake totally hit it right. It's all positive in that group. I check in probably on a daily basis. I haven't traditionally personally been a big Facebook guy, but I think that's the only thing I go to Facebook for is the NFL All Day OG. So
yeah,
I've been popping in there, trying to get involved with the feeds. I'm also not the biggest guy on Discord. I like it sometimes, but it's hard to stay active all the time on that because you lose track of that feed. The feed.
Definitely.
The feed moves too fast for me. It's a lot of reading. I wish I was a speed reader for Discord. I feel like everyone that's in Discord has got to taken a speed reading course back in the day or something.
For sure.
So awesome, man. Any final thoughts on your end? Any final thoughts on your end before we wrap things up here? I know it's getting late out there in Houston, and we got more news coming up this week that we're going to stay posted on, but you want to send us off before with any final thoughts?
For sure, man. Like I said at the beginning, man, just appreciate the invite, man. Love Nifty Sports, man. Like watching all your videos. Love the channel. Hit up NFL All Day OGs on Facebook. Come holler at me on there. Just super pumped overall just about NFL All Day. Still coming in hot on Top Shot too. So loving that. Got the spicy drop coming up. So I'm excited about that too. Just a lot of good vibes, man, and just excited about everything, really.
Awesome. Well, you heard it there. That's a perfect way to send us off. I wanted to thank you personally for coming on. You and I have been friends for, a few months now, back and forth on Twitter. But it's good to talk in person, face to face. We got a lot to be excited about NFL All Day this upcoming season and for years to come. So, a true NFL All Day OG. I'm excited. I'm super happy that you started that group. And thank you for everything that you do for the community, Jake. Thanks for coming on, man.
For sure. Appreciate you, Eric.